not here today, I'm still is. So when I'm using is, it's because I cannot take it that he is a was, has passed on. I think he's still with us. Mzi Mnguni on Mzi, there in the village, I know he had other nicknames that I'm not going to mention today. Of course, in the birth profile, she is the second son, and I'm just after him. So I know some of his little jokes and things that he did when he was still a young man, and I also know some. What had happened is that as he was growing, we couldn't really make it that what kind of a boy was he going to be like. And my mother used to say, you see this one? Do you see this one? All the time, I must be just after him. And my mother used to laugh this. And I think one day it happened that, I don't know what he did, but it was similar to something like he followed some girls who were going to the river. And my mother heard about that. And then when he came back and he started now to do this, I don't like this and what and what. And then my mother is telling now a story to say, you know, when I started this time, and which was my last time, he held me here like this, and I felt, wow, this is a man. I will not do this again anymore. Now, I want now to come also, we always see the families, especially amaXhosa. Sizahlukanisa omnye umzi nakomnye umzi by iziduko. Sithi ke mose singojola, ojonkomo. Sithi singomphankomo. Sithi singocengeba. Sithi ongwanya. Kude kuthiwe ke ngoku ungujola. Laa nto ithi ijikelezayo apha, that is thina sizala namhlawumbi neenyoka. Kodwa ke ndiyayoyika, asinikanga bethunani inye igama layo kumajola. Now, where is Dugo? I want to mention two iziduko. Enzizawuthi ezo ziduko ndizihlanganise nobubomi benibuva apha. Kuthiwa phaya kasibulisanayo, molojola, athi omnye ewe ke jonkomo. Molojola, ewe ke jonkomo. Now, what is the meaning of this jola? Ujola is our culture. When there are big feasts, especially of meat, really people sit down in big dishes with this meat being served. So I mean that at my home, we are not scared to give that whole meat to the people and share it. Something that has been common with my brother as we were talking this morning. Now, ompankomo, I mean, inkomo is a pride of each and every home. Every home is a home when there is a lot of cows or cattle. And then we see that man is a man. You see, there's got that, I mean, a lot of cattle. See them when they are going to the field or going to the river. So, how can now a man be easy to him to take a cow and give it to someone else? That is umpango. I'm trying now to show where and how maybe he's blessed even by his ancestors. It doesn't start today. It started long ago, because I think that these clan names were given to the actions that were done by the people of long ago. Now, let me come now to look at Mzi in the family. We had a brother who's late. As well, they were growing. My brother used to, twins, we are so slow. Let's go, let's do it like this. He used to be so forward in the language. of today and want to do things by himself the way it has been explained. He has shown this in the family amongst us as brothers and sisters. Now, how now is behaving? The behavior of Mzi was funny. He's a loud person. He was loud in business, loud at home, but behind that loud voice, there's warmth, there's caring. There's also that kind of listening skill to say, Ntombi, what's going on? Tell me. And you will really take maybe whoever has got a problem aside and listen to that problem or whatever it is. So, how can this loud person be like this, but at the same time he's so loud, and even other people sometimes they are so scared of him. But most of those people learned later that he's a woman. I want now to come to this side, which is love. But Mzi loved his family. He loved first his mother. He was more close to my mother, more than my father, funny enough. And they used to have just a little bit of fight with my father. I don't know, quick. There's something wrong with my father and Ramsey. I don't know how. But with my mother, when he comes home, you see, first, our mother used to sit down like this. And then when Ramsey would come and sleep on the laps of my mother like a baby. Hi, Bo. I'm an old man like this. Now there he is lying on his bed. And then my mother is going to scratch his head and things and start to do all of those things. And then this love grew, as I say, to the fact that he never spoiled us. You wouldn't just go to put in smash and say, I want shoes, I want this. He never did. He never spoiled us at any moment. He would pay for your school fees. He would pay for the money to take you to the doctor. He would see that you have eaten, that is, the groceries and things. Remember, with schools, my sister used to say, Putin Smash is going to give you 5 rand and then say, please, Lastu, I want the change. So if he has given you money, you must bring the change. So generous as he is, he was also looking at us to say, don't waste, and also know that there is tomorrow. And again, with this love, as he was in the business now, he loved all the stuff. He loved everyone, the customers. Whoa, the customers. Now, when somebody, especially mothers, when they come into the shop with the children, first thing he does is to greet the children. How are you? What is your name? And even sometimes give that sweet that he would never give to any of us. And then when there's something like bereavement in families, either in our family, as Mnguni family, or anyone that he knows, he will want to know, is everything going on well? If not, a plan should be made to meet that family halfway. Not in the public, silently and privately. But one day, as you are walking, maybe in the said, hey, I'm so happy. Do you know what your brother did to me? Hey, Bo, what did he do? Don't you know? And then the person will start to say, he did this and this and this. And then you start now to say, I didn't know. But anyway, it was a good thing to do. With humility and humbleness. You see, as brothers and sisters, sometimes you quarrel over some things and we don't agree maybe to a certain point or to a certain point. And then he's loud. Hey, this must go on like this and this and this and this and this. And then there is Tihle starting now to be angry because the brother was talking like this. So I'm not his boy, he can't talk me like that. But then 2 days, 3 days, Mommy, come here. You know what? I don't see Tihle here. He doesn't visit. And Tihle doesn't talk to me. Oh, please, man, see that Tihle talks to me. And when you look back, what was it? Not much, but just because he's loud. He would humble himself first in the family, as the people have noticed that he could humble himself even with anyone, whether he's talking business or he is, whatever he does, he would put humbleness before him and make it and take it as a stepping stone to whatever he wants. Remember, guys, my classes, I left them at home. So he also, what was important with Mzi, the support, I've talked about it. I've talked about the communication loud, as much there was nothing behind it. And again, he was a traveler. People would ask, when did he start to be a traveler? My brother started to be a traveler whilst he was in the village, guys. You know, they were traveling with horses, horseback. There would be a concert in that school, in that village, and a concert in that village. But my brother would attend all those on horseback. So before he could flew with planes and cars and everything, he started at home because he was an explorer. He wanted to know each and everything. As I said, I want to just touch some little funny things that were happening at home, and things that when they started then, we were not sure that they are going to take him far and high as it has happened now. Now, he was generous with his resources. He could share anything. He was generous with ideas, because I think in business, you should be able to say, how did it go? And not say, hi, Shazam. No, I think those people who would come and ask for ideas from him, he would gladly share that and see that that person is moving forward so that he can. He had a big heart. He was not even shy to share a tear. My brother used to cry easily, guys, more than children. And then he usually cry when, especially when he hears something that is not, a nice, like bereavements and other things. The other thing he had, he wants to see that everyone is growing, and he wanted to see that everything is happening in order. He was very simple in heart, and also humble, and humble even in food, simple even in food. You know, my brother used to love umvobo. So don't fry fish and chips and things because he's busy, and he wants to go because he wants to fix his car at business. At a small business, and that's how he was. He made our life easy. He made our life, to be great, and we are so happy and grateful to God to bring that kind of man amongst us, and we call it a family. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dubs. Indeed, these are the memories the family will hold on to dearly. If you are watching us on YouTube, we are live even on Newsroom Africa, channel 405, and we are here to bid farewell to a legend, a man who was respected in all circles. We have been joined by Utarumfunsu Finga, who is in our midst, ozawusinika inkonzo asithuthuzele ngamazwi. Ekudliweni kobomi kuthiwa sikwasekufeni. So naye uMzi uye waphila ubomi, wahaslisha ngale mihla yanamhlanje kaTwitter. And in hustling, wenze izihlobo. Some of us do not make lasting friendships, but uMzi did, in the man called Ronnie Berman, kwakunye notata uSobikwa F. Ndizawucela ke ukuba ngabana kuba bengakwazanga uba kunye nathi ngenxa ye-COVID-19, bobabini sibamamele kwi-videos ezizilandelayo. DJ.
You know, I would dearly love to be with all of you today for a very dear friend, but unfortunately COVID has put paid to that. I don't know how one summarizes a 35-year friendship, partnership in a short eulogy. And truth to be told, I am not one for eulogies because I can never quite understand why, when a person is no longer there to hear good things said about them, everybody stands up and makes these wonderful speeches. In Mzi's case, he thankfully had the opportunity on a number of occasions to see how he was revered and respected. The one time, and again I was honoured to be present, and one of the speakers is when he was the first inductee in the Eastern Cape of a Legends Blazer, and the second, of course, is the tournament in East London, which was dedicated to Mzi, and where he was brought into the arena in his wheelchair, and just saw the love and admiration from the people there. You know, when one puts in perspective Mzi's achievements, it absolutely boggles the mind. Training in a sports gymnasium with the basic of equipment, and yet bringing out producing great champions, often winning their fights and winning titles overseas against those fighters who had the benefit of training in state-of-the-art gyms. There's no doubt in my mind that if we had not been on the beaten track of South Africa insofar as boxing is concerned, Mzi would definitely have been an inductee into the World Boxing Hall of Fame. Many people with lesser achievements than him have been given this honour, so it was one of the tragedies really. The 10th of March 1990, still the highlight of my career in boxing. The night when Walter Meter won the world title in Israel. It was also the first world champion for Mzi, who tragically also couldn't be there that night because of trouble in then Sistan. I think he shot and burned down. But that night will forever be etched in our memory as the greatest night in our boxing history, our first world champion. Mzi, what can I say? I can't say I'm listening because I've actually been listening for the last 5-6 years. I miss his counsel, I miss his input, and interestingly enough, even while he was in Perth, I used to bring him up to our tournaments at Empress Palace and mainly to get his input into fighters to see if he thought that they had the talent, etc. So, to a dear friend, somebody who's irreplaceable, someone who for 35 years I never had to go and have a written contract between us. Such was the man that his word was his bond, and our word together was our written contract. He will be sorely missed, and he will be deservedly an icon and a legend in South African boxing. I'm working on ways to perpetuate the name of Mzi Mnguni, and probably one way will be Mzi Mnguni annual tournament. But we will put it together and announcements will be made in due course. Goodbye, my friend. It was such a pleasure and a privilege to work with you.
Mzi Mnguni namasisi usabolo ngiyile banazika ushanga ngiyishila lomfo ingcoba ngiyeminyaka ikuyina Anime, Uruguay, and Uruguay, or the two in Saturn, Ule, the book by Eddie, was this in the Nando can say that Ule, or one over, or a Sija, Isonga, and then, no ability, a ghost, or choices. Mnguni, when the law, a ghost.
Siyabulela kakhulu kubahlobo bakatata Mzi Mnguni. Nina ke noyiswa nokwenza i2 years le ye friendship. It's as though I've read their minds when I said Mr. Mnguni was a legend because he made lasting friendships. 45 years and 35 years of friendship. Noba mna bendawo koyiswa kukhumsha kula friendship yakhe noRoni. Kuthiwa ke ngesiXhosa bantu xa besebenze ixesha elide kunye babizwa ngokuba ngumtya nethunga. Namhlanje sizokubeka ithunga ukuba liphumle ngoxolo kodwa umtya usashiyekile. Masimcele utata uLoyiso Mtya ukuba azosicacisela ukuba intsebenziswano yabo ibinjani ngexesha bencedisana beqinisekisa ukuba sikhiqiza intshatsheli kweli phondo laseMpuma Koloni eziziqalise ilizwe lonke jikelele. Lizali sidi ngalapho tikongo siyenyaniso zokita
Allow me to say protocol observed. Xa ndizawuthetha ngomzi Mnguni, ndithetha ngomhlobo wam, ndithetha ngecompetitor. Sidibene saqhuba sobabini kwade kwazokuba leli xesha. Andizongena ke kwizinto ezininzi ezithethiweyo ngenxaba ndawugqiba le mini yonke zithethiwe izinto ngabantu. Kodwa mna indawo endiye ndaqonda uba makhe ndiye kuhlala kuyo, it is the day after. The day after, that is after Mzi Mnguni. What happens after Mzi Mnguni? In order for you to understand the impact that Mnguni made in our boxing, as an educator, as a strategist, as a disciplinarian, as a go-getter, as a genius, you got to understand uba xa wayefika apha kwiboxing yethu yayinjani na iboxing. Because ukuba uzawucinga iboxing yalapha yayiboxing nje esesithubeni, you will never be in a position to understand the impact that it made, because wayithatha iboxing isuka ndawoni na. Lamagama ayabizwa, but ke mna ke ndinelami endifuna ulongeza kula magama abizwayo kuthiwa ngawo. Ndiyafuna nokuthi he was streetwise, because izinto ezininzi akwazileyo ukuzenza umzi uzazi because he was streetwise. Xa efika kwiboxing apha ufike iboxing yalapha eMonti kusithiwa this place is the mecca of boxing. Imecca of boxing kusithiwa kulapho amanqindi onke aqala khona, amanqindi onke adibana khona, ngenxa yoba sasiphela kweprovince ekhompyuthayo nesoka nerugby in terms of ubiza abantu esisathu stadium sibiza 25 to 30 people, because abantu balapha bayayithanda iboxing. Ufike ke apha wafika kukho abantu ababeyenzile le boxing, abantu abanje nge-administrators ezingatata uMzuli Madyaka, ootata uThami Nomvethe, ootata uEric Gabela nabazi-promoters, abo-Charles Sele ababengabantu belaa xesha le-apartheid. wafika kukho ipromoters ezazikomfana Jekwa, wangena ngam ke kuboxing. Andizongena apho because lelinye ibali elide, but wangena sasebenza kunye iminyaka kangoba uyo introduce kwakhe kuLes, uyo introduce kwakhe kuLes Mako Eric Kabelana nomfana Jekwa uyo introduce ndim nemilo yakhe yathi bakhona ngenxa yecompetition. I had uba ndibe ndikhona ndiphakathi kuloo milo ukuze loo milo ibe kanti iyaphela umzimasi akwazi ukusebenza. He was a strategist. Okokuqala kule ndaba ye-strategist ndifuna ukwenza umzekelo nje othi wayengazungena kuboxing kuqala nje wayezazi engumntu ozakwenza ubomi ezaba yi-businessman, but his first strategy was to get a wife, a good wife. And wathatha uLindiwe Ngobeni, decide this is the partner endizaba nayo. And that partner made sure that while ixesha lakhe Mzi was in boxing, was in the ring, business yakhe never suffered. Business yakhe grew and grew and grew while he was not there, busy boxing. He was a strategist. He was a businessman. Wandibonisa mna ngeke sasebenza kunye le ndaba ye-strategy. Xa kwakungena urhulumente omtsha, lo rhulumente omtsha engena norhulumente omtsha wamanqindi, kufuneka ukukho abantu abazawuphatha amanqindi. Wabe uLes Mala lona wethu apha eprovinsini, one of the people who made boxing in this area, ebizwa national uba mayokuba ngu-national chairperson. Bevuya abantu bevuyela loo nto ngenxa uba uLes uzawukhula kule boxing. Ndathi ndihleli phaa endlini ngenye imini wangena uMzi wathi, mfondini, ndiyakubona uba nawe ukhona kule nto uLes makanyuke, andiyifuni, ndisitsho ndikubonise. Ndathi khawutsho Mzi. Mzi ke was a businessman, Mzi was a strategist. Wathi ukuba uLes akakho kule province, that will not be good for boxing. Ukuba uLes uphaya national soze sikwazi ukubamba kakuhle, uLes ngowethu, uLes wenze iboxing. Bayeke bathathe umuntu phaa phezulu, thina sigcine uLes apha. Into emasiyenze thina kukutyhala umntu wethu, noba sityhala ukhulile rhadi, ukuze ukuba kubekwa ungatanye phaya phezulu, okhulayo bapha ayoquba ongatanye ukwenzela into yokuba ibhizinesi yethu ibe strong apha ekhaya, ibe strong na-national. Kodwa we cannot lose uLes and uMzi wayenyanisile. Masiyeke ke ngoku ezo singene ekubeni njengoba ngoku iboxing yayinje, abantu balapha bephambene ngohlobo lweboxing, i-champions ikhona iboxing apho yayiqale ngo-1965 professional boxing, yayiqale ngo-1955 amateur boxing. By 58 kwakusekukho i-champions ezininzi kwa-amateur, and then 1965 yaqala i-professional boxing. By 1972, the South African champions sasesinayo. By 1979, Lindawo yayiseyiproduce 5 South African champions inayo strong by. And Kaisi that's in the enya yazo ke. Yayingukosana Mgaji. Yayingukosana Mgaji yokuqala. Eyesibini yaba nguTsiyetse Maletlwane. uTsiyetse walandela ngumzulu izikhwiya. Yazi uba nguLoyiso Mtya, lo mfana mhle kangako umehamba ndibethile inqindi, ndibabethile abantu. Yazi uba nguWeli lenkosi enkulu 1979. Esisadukashe ufike uMzi ngeli xesha sesiphume esisadukashe kusiwa eOrient. Benqaba isisadukashe yayiseyinezinto zepolitics, abantu beyiyeka. uMzi ungene ngelo xesha waqalisa ukwenza ezakhe ipromotions. Mzi became so good as a trainer, as a strategist, as a promoter, but kweliqala promotion sabona icala elitsha sabona icala le-business. uMzi wasithatha wasisusa kule level sikuyo yokuthi boxing siyayithanda, boxing sport. Wathi uMzi, this is also business, le nto yisebenze ngohlobo lwe-business. Mandimngaphi because ixesha lizawubulala ndingene ku the day after. Ndithi, now that uMzi is gone, what do we do? What do we do to make sure that the legacy that Mzi Mnguni was, the educator Mzi was, the education asinike yona kwenzeka ntoni na ngayo? What do we do? Andizongena ke MEC kwezenu zokuba ndizawuthi makuthiwe igama lebuilding ithile ngaye, makuthiwe istrato esithile ngaye, makuthiwe whatever ezawuthiywa ngaye. Sesikwi-backlog ende kakhulu apho, zininzi iindawo ezifuna uthiywa ngabantu. Siseza nathi. We deserve it. And sideserve nje kule province senze bhetere kunaso nasiphi isport. Phela kwethu isport esibekele nawo in the map. But ndizawuza mna mntu wamanqindi, usebenza amanqindi. Nangu chairperson wethu weboxing ulapha, nangu sihle lapha, nangu uAndestinile ulapha. Uzola Dunywa ngomnye wabantu babe khona ekubeni le boxing beyile nto ayipheli kukale politics. Nangu liyandakala, ndiza kuthi chairperson, let us do izinto that will make Mzi Mnguni proud wherever he is. Let us go into boxing development. Let us train i-trainers zethu so that zikwazi uba sizoba kwezi level besikuzoba kuzo Mzi Mnguni. Let us get i-boxing yethu ibheke emantombazaneni, ayeke amantombazana ethu ukuthi ukuzalwa kube kanti kungo-August. Amantombazana ethu mawalo ngolahlo esilwa ngalo ngela xesha i-boxing ebeyiqala indawo ye-boxing. Let us train i-ring officials zethu. Let us train everybody okwi-boxing ukwenzela uba i-boxing yethu ibe izaba developed. 2, let us get i-business yethu chairperson ibe kwi-level umzi ebesele ibeke kuyo i-level ye-business. During apartheid, i-boxing yapha yayichogene ne-public sector. I-boxing yayisenziwa ngo-Ellerens, ngo-Oldbuck, ngo-King Kong nezinye ungazibiza. There was money to be made. And if MEC, we can be able ukuba sibize ezo ndawo uba isezizo ibe kanti ke zezinye ezintsha, because i-boxing has also gone digital. So ukwazi ukuba kubekho enough money kwi-boxing ukwenzela i-profit yenzeke for a businessman. Sawukwazi ukuba senze enough money boxing for kubekho enough tournaments abantwana bethu bakwazi ukulwa. Okwesithathu sawukwazi kubekho enough money boxing so that everybody is happy. Okugqibela MEC, sendiyiqalile le ndima MEC, the legacy that Mzi left kufuneka ibhalwe encwadini. Umzi nabanye abantu ndigqibile uyibhala MEC. Ndikubenzela ukubhala MEC ndenzela into yoba nabantwana bethu abangasekhoyo bayazi bakwakho abantu abanjeni. Kwakho o-Apostle Dr. Hawk Makhepula ababazii-world champions 5 times. Kwakho oVuyani Bhungu abophula irekhodi zase-South Africa. Ukhona nawe kulaa ncwadi because wena uthe wawubona ukuba i-boxing yethu iyadlakazela iyawa and abona abantu babulala i-boxing zii-promoters. Wabiza ii-promoters phaya ePort Alfred. La indaba wawuyenza phaya neteam yakho ndivala ngayo kulaa ncwadi. And ke ngoku laa ncwadi mhlawumbi phase 1 phase 2 uza kuthi i-resolutions ebezenziwe othema zenzeke phaya ziza kwenzeka na. Ndiyagqiba kuloo ndawo. Xa ndigqiba ndifuna nje ukujola xa ndisithi kubo uMzi makahambe ndongeze nje phaa kuni kwezaa zibongo zenu. Ndisithi hamba Mabalekijima, hamba Makhombe Khanyela, hamba Phuncuka Bemphethe, goloza edingeni engasayifumana nto, nyonke namanyali atshibulika emyezweni, tshibilika mntana olandela inyathelo lokanyoko, khonkotha ntloko nje namphumphothulu. Ndiyabulela, thank you.
Bethuna, abanye abantu bayazibona uba bahle, isn't he handsome? I think ndithanda nale nto abhale nangedepartment yam phayana encwadini yakhe. Masigqithe sibalekile ukwenzela into yobana singashiywa lixesha. Siyabulela kakhulu Mr. Mtya. Indeed, it was a moving tribute. Kuyacaca uba usebenze nendoda ekrelekrele iminyaka. Izinto ozifunayo uba mazenzeke moving forward ziclear and singurhulumente sizazilandelela. Mna ke ndindwebile because wherever I go ndiba neenduku zam endivika ngazo. Ndiphethe iBoxing South Africa, ndiphethe uDeputy Minister we-Sport, Arts and Culture in the entire country. So ezi zinto uziproposayo Mr. Mtya sezinabanikazi bazo, zinomama zinotata. Nandawuhlala nje apha ekuzigadeni uba iintsana ezi zakho nam ziyakhulana. Enkosi kakhulu bhuti. Utata Sobikwa, in the tribute he made, uthe This is an end to an era of a generation. Sizawugawula siwarhuqa ke bantu abakwethu ngenxa yexesha kuba kufuneka athi bethu 11 sibe sele siphumile apha. Igeneration yootata uMnguni igqithile. Ngoku kungene igeneration yoluthando Jack. Sifuna uva ke uba nina Jack nifunde ntoni ukuba ngabana siyayibona ingathi yakekela sikhawuleze sinethule ofisini ngoku nifikayo. Ladies and gentlemen, dinika ke ngoku uchairperson weboard yeboxing South Africa inzalelwane yalapha ephondweni laseMpuma Koloni uLuthando Jack, over to you. Ndizawuma apha ecam kwakho ukuba ugqiba.
Enkosi program director, mandibulise kwisifundisi sethu, ndibulise kwifamily yakwaMnguni amampondomise, ndibulise ku-deputy minister wethu ozosinika intetho ephambili lo msebenzi kaMzi. Ndibulise kuye wonke umuntu olapha, all protocol observed. I think njengoba besechilo uJola lo suka apha into ezininzi besele zithethiwe, so mine ngizakwenza nje isishwankathelo sentetha. On Saturday, the 13th February 2021, the contradiction between life and death was unfortunately resolved in favor of death. A legend, a leader, a promoter extraordinaire, a philanthropist, a teacher, a community builder, a cultural revolutionary, and an organic intellectual has ceased to exist. A husband to his wife, uSislindi, a father and grandfather, a brother, a father figure to those who encountered him, is no more. Mzi Mnguni, a symbol of excellence, a symbol of professionalism, a path-breaking thinker, as has been said by many, a self-starter and entrepreneur, was a mortal and is immortal and will be immortalized. We will immortalize him because of his deeds. We will immortalize him because of his deeds, because of his actions, because of his contributions, and because of the lasting legacy he has bequeathed us, we the living. We will immortalize him and his generations, because Mzi refused to allow the conditions of his death to condemn him to be non-imaginative, non-aspiring, non-thinking, and to condemn him into a hopeless individual. We'll remember him because he did not just produce great national and world champions, but he was also a champion of life and a champion for life. We'll remember him not only because he was Mzi, but because he was who he was, because he never allowed adversity to conquer him. Mzi, as Umqadi Uloiso has said earlier on, was streetwise, a sophisticated negotiator who always garnered for the best deals for his boxers. He was a master tactician, and of course, in negotiating his deals, like a true boxing maverick, he went for knockouts, technical knockouts, straight wins. A draw was a compromise to him, and of course, he never liked defeats. His conduct off and on tournaments was reminiscent of a true descendant of that great warrior of the Mpondomise, the great King Mhlonhlo, who defended his people and who truly fought for his people. He too, Mzi, fought for his boxers. He fought for the development and transformation of the sport of boxing, as has been said. He fought for the development of boxing in the Greater Mdantsane as well as East London areas. If in the 1960s, 1970s, up to the 1980s, if those were the great years of the development of boxing in this particular area, well then, the 1990s and early 2000s really ushered what has been called the great era of boxing. And if the boxing history of our land is written properly, Mzi's name will be etched as one of the shapers of the trajectory of boxing in this country. Simon Sali, Happy Boy Mdlaji, Anthony Moruti, Mzukisi Square, Baby Jacks Matlala, Tap Tap Makatini, Mzi Mnguni, and many other boxing warriors. You have done what you could do whilst you lived. You have not done what you could not do. In your memory, we will continue with the task of taking boxing to the new greater heights. In your memory, we will renew and rebuild the sport of boxing in this country. The renewal journey will catapult boxing into a new trajectory of reconstruction, growth, transformation, creativity, and innovation, as has been said by Mr. Mja. We are inspired by your heroism and exemplary leadership. We are learning from your lessons that we ought to subordinate our own interests to the collective interests of the development of boxing, if boxing is to thrive. And we will succeed, we will flourish. Sibamba ngazibini ke Mzi wakwamnguni for allowing uBramzi to be himself. Sithi akuhlanga lungehlanga luhlanga. Masimbulele uBramzi ngemisebenzi yakhe, simkhulule ngoxolo. Sithi ke lala ngoxolo ngwanya mphankomo jola kaNgcina, uNgcina kaNtose, uNtose kaMpondomise, uMpondomise kaNjanya, uMpondomise uNjanya kaSibisidi. Sithi lala ngoxolo sirhwarhwa phila kuzenzela. Enkosi.
Enkosi kakhulu Jola, ndiyabona uvuka luhlanga kwa indlela le umthutha ngayo kuba kuyacaca uba ooJola zingangalala. Ubungasoze ube ngu-chairperson we-boxing South Africa nta unguye uJola. Ozibona ngathi ke le bhatyi emlingeni ufuna aqala abe nguJola kuqala. Siyabulela kakhulu. It is indeed a mammoth task asishiya nayo uTata uBramzi Mnguni of ensuring that we take the Eastern Cape back to its glory, ibizwe ngokuba i-Mecca of boxing. Siyabulela kakhulu Luthando Jack for the words. Masicele ke kuba uTata uMzi Mnguni ubezele inyambalala yabantwana. Abanye ke ubazele ngembambo, abanye ubazele ncakasana. Ndilimpondokazi kodwa andizuthetha ngolhlobo benilindele ngalo. Ubezele ncakasana. Masicele ke abantwana bakhe ukuba bazomnika i-tribute imizuzwana nje lembalwa. Ndinikela kubo ke. Sicela ungabi sadlala nengoma ngenxa yexesha, ndicela nindixolele kakhulu.
Thank you, Program Director. It is a well-established norm that we acknowledge dignitaries in attendance according to social standing and offices that they hold. But in honor of my father, who espoused the equality of all human beings, I would like to acknowledge all mourners in attendance. Equality of all doesn't cancel out our gratitude we as siblings and family owes to the South African government in bestowing one of the highest honors our country can to its citizenry, a state funeral. In this regard, I would like to thank the government representatives that are here with us today, the Program Director, the Deputy Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, any other ministers and MECs that are present, the Executive Mayor of Buffalo City, Mr. Paul Pagat, and all dignitaries present. It would be remiss of us not to acknowledge our spiritual leaders, Abafundi Sbetu, that are here with us today. Also, I would like to acknowledge the Mnguni family in its entirety, as well as the Ngobeni family. As the elder son, my siblings standing with me have requested me to relay their final message to Tata, starting with umafungwashe wakhe uNondima. Tata, bendikhona ebomini bakho, ndikubonile ugulile. Iintlungu zakho bendingenozithatha. Inkosi ikuphumzile. Lala uphumle Jola, qengele. Utoni, I don't know much about the place you are at right now, but I'm certain that the first thing you asked your maker when you guys met was,
ungumnifundini. Jola, I thank you for the love and great teachings. I thank you for having my best interest at heart till your last days. Thank you for hanging in there to witness my wedding. Naming my wife Inatingos was a short, strong message to me that everything is going to be fine. Nangoku Jola kuzoba mnandi. Tata, with all your imperfections, you will always be the greatest dad to me. We'll always love you, Jola. Lala ngwanqolo mpangoma. Kama, Dad, on my Uber ride rushing to prepare for your memorial service, Mariah's song, I'll Be There, played. The sense of comfort and relief was as if you were telling me you will always be there when I call your name. We await your signs and presence, Mzi, because I felt your spirit. Thank you for understanding and embracing each of us our uniqueness. I was the most fragile in your eyes, but I promise to take care of the younger and to be their pillar. We will miss you. Seeing your smile in our siblings gives me the reassurance that we carry you inside us. It will always resonate within us. No later, Jola, you place no bounds in giving us the best education so that we may accomplish our dreams. You broke traditional views because you allowed us to be whoever we wanted to be and acknowledged and appreciated our uniqueness. Thank you for making it easy for me, as a black girl, to walk into big, intimidating rooms, tall and proud, so that I too can continue your legacy to contribute to humanity and the community at large. Thank you for making us independent, especially the girls. You will always tell people that I was a Tengis, and no one would ever love us like you did. Your love was really enough. We are truly a living testimony. Kanya, whenever I think of my dad, the first thing that comes to my mind is his smile. He had the biggest smile that brought about a sense of warmth, joy, happiness amongst us. The reason why I loved his smile so much was that it exposed a gentle side of him, a side that we got to love and experience. He was a gentle giant. When Dad smiled at you, a certain light shone so bright that your own light was strengthened just by being around him. And that was the power of influence that he had. He was able to use that smile and sense of influence, not only help those around him, but also develop communities. I can only hope that one day my smile can shine so bright that it will impact those lives, the lives of others around me like my dad's. Lonwabo, Joel, ukuhamba kwakho kunditheze amandla. Andinawo amazwi anokucacisa indlela endiziva ngayo namhlanje. Mhla kwathiwa mandichaze yonke into okwandenzela yona, ndinganabisa amazwi anogcwalisa iitafile efanele iinkosi zamazwe aliqela. Kodwa ke awanamhlanje athi enkosi kakhulu Joel. Lihle, the world will forever look different with you in it, without you in it, sorry. We all got to experience your love in so many unique ways. I'm continuously learning the true value of life lessons you instilled, and I'm a greater person for having been in the presence of your wisdom and charisma. As siblings, we all shared you with the larger community. But now you're gone, we get to hold on to all the beautiful stories of all the lives you touched. Thank you for the privilege of being your daughter. Wenga, we will always remember that special smile, that caring heart, that warm embrace. No matter what, we will always remember you dad, because you will never be another to replace in our hearts, and the love we always had for you. Rest in peace, Dad. A friend shared a Maya Angelou poem that I found appropriate for my father. And I quote, "When I think of death, and of late the idea has come with alarming frequency, I seem at peace with the idea that a day will dawn when I will no longer be among those living in this valley of strange humors. I can accept the idea of my own demise, but I'm unable to accept the death of anyone else. I find it impossible to let a friend or relative go into that country of no return. Disbelief becomes my close companion, and anger follows in its wake. I answer the heroic question, death, where is thy sting? With, it is here in my heart and mind and memories. End quote. Maya Angelou. Death often leaves us sorrowful, regretful of what could have been, and also yearning for more time with the departed. In death, we also seek the purpose of life. We seek to make sense of our journeys, and doing this, we project the dreams those we have lost. We ask ourselves, what would they have wanted their legacy to be? One of Mzi's wishes would have been for the family to unite. Family is bound not by blood, but by love, unity, respect, and joy in and for each other's lives. Unity was his gift to the boxing fraternity, his business associates, and communities that he was part of. The cudgels of forging unity are now firmly on our shoulders as a family. Masibambana ngezandla. Young black males and females often don't have role models. I am fortunate and eternally grateful that I had you as a father, mentor, and role model. You gave me the space to explore ubuntu bami and reach for my dreams. I'm my father's son. Rest in peace, John.
Siyabulela kakhulu kumkhuseli kwakunye nodade wabo nabafowabo ngenene linzulu inxeba. Mzi was a family man, khulisile abantwana bakhe, and in them he multiplied. Lalani ngoxolo botsholo, thuthuzelekani. Masiqetheke sicele ukuba sinikwe umyalezo osuka kwinkosikazi yakhe entle Sisilindi, umyalezo ozodlalwa phayana kwividiyo. Cela ke sonke sithi cwaka simamele amazwi okugqibela xa evalelisa isithando senhliziyo yakhe.
Ministers, no MCs, diplomats, abakhoyo apha namhlanje, officiating ministers, uRev Bosik, Rev Noche, and Rev Prula, Mnguni family, and the Mnguni family. Everyone present here today, I humbly greet you in the wonderful name of my Lord Jesus Christ. On this third day, I want to say, umphefumulo wami wenza inkosi, nomoya wami ujubule ngoThixo umsindisi wami, ukuba wakukhangela ukuthobeka komkhosazana wakhe. ngokuba wanenzela izinto ezinkulu uSimanga, lingibele igama lakhe. Tata uJola, Tata uPlanga, Tata Kamphosile. Indeed, it has not been easy for the past 46 years. But through God's grace and divine intervention, I'm here today to bid farewell to my beloved husband. I'm grateful to God for the wonderful years we spent together as husband and wife. There is so much, Joy God, for believing in me as your wife. We encountered trials and tribulations, but we emerged victorious, even stronger, for we were meant for each other. Joining on, I recall vividly in 1990 when we were in Israel for a world title, World Cup. Suddenly we got bad news, disturbing news, as if all the businesses back home, they were bent down. That was a very sad moment. Gabuza uwe, yes. Gabuza Jola, CRP, what are we going to do? Are we going to start on Omaraki? Or Pendula Jolawati? Don't worry, as long as I have you as my love. Thank you, Jola, for believing in me as your wife. Joleko, ndikuthande ngane wam xa usithi kum udliseka. Mna zange ndazikhatha, ndazikhethela wena, ndayokuthatha eSoweto, ndakuzisa e-Eastern Cape, ndakwenza inkosikazi yam. Ngelo xesha unesmile emzini, then I will smile back. Ndikuthande Jola xa usithi Mama Mnguni uza kuthandaza nini, kuba mna nawe we truly believed in the prayer. Ndikuthande Jola xa usithi Lindi oku kutya ndikuva nje akuphekwanga nguwe, kuba usazi Jola isandla senkosikazi yakho. Ndikubonile Jola ugula, ndikubonile kubuhlungu, ndikubonile Tata Kamphosile uphelelwa ngamandla, ndikubonile yonke imihla iintlungu ziphethe, kodwa inye into ibisenza happy is that nanawe we're together. Ndifuna ukuthi ke Jola Mphango Qengeba langa Thumbe, I promise you Planga wam ukuthi ndawugcina ikhaya lakho. Abantu bakho bazaba ngabantu bakho. Your gods now bazaba ngabantu bakho. Abantu bakokwenu bazaba ngabantu bakho. Abantwana bakho bazaba ngabantu bakho. I will never let you down. Ndawuhlala kweli khaya lakwaJola until the last day of my life. Jola, you have fought a good fight. You have kept the faith, and you have finished the race. Surely you will receive your crown. Hamba kakuhle, Tata Kamphosile. Hamba kakuhle, Jola. Hamba kakuhle, sithande sam. Ndawuhlala ndikukhumbula, ndisikhumbule memory ezimandi. You will forever remain in my heart. Rest in peace, my sweetheart. Thank you.
Siyabulela kakhulu Sisindi. Xolo nkosazana. Xolo. Miss him? Yes, you will miss him. Every day. Kodwa yazi lento nathi sibulele ukuba uyazingca ngaye. Uyazingca ngegalelo. Siyakuva nezithembiso zenzayo kwaye sinadyudyu. Kuba ngendlela esikubone ngayo uhamba noBramzi ecaleni kwakho ngawo onke amaxesha kumnandi kokubi sinesiqinisekiso sokuba uzawuphuma ngebhokisi kula mzi wakwaMnguni. Siyabulela kakhulu. Masigqithele ngaphambili ke kuba uBramzi ube ngumuntu all rounded ekhonza nokhonza. Sawucela ke bayisithethe sicawe umama umdingi asiphe amazwi ambalwa ukuba uBramzi bengumuntu enjani enkonzweni. Umama umdingi akazi ukwazi uphakama so ndizamzisela into yokuthetha phaa kulaa ndawo uhleli kuyo.
And all clergy present here this morning, Jamhuri Christ. Ndivumele program director briefly. To all parents that are here this morning, let us start because those prayers may, at a later stage, manifest in their lives. Why Mzi? It is because when I first saw Mzi Mnguni at church, as he said, and soon after that, we could see Onomi Inosishe, others too, Onondima, Dicho Kodani, Dicho Umbibi, Kunye, No Grace, and all of them, Bagandela. And now I'm proud to say they are members in full communion with our church. Now, Ndizeke Akofele and talk about Mzi Mnguni at church. The role he played in Mzi Mnguni, most people would think Akazokuzi Kameni. But what I like about him is that Christ is not Kameni, Akamshi Akamigamarai, no, he stays there among his weak. As a man, Now, what is that? Our hands job on the corridor. And I don't know how many times did we go to Mzi Mnguni and use his resources and facilities for our conferences as a church, as well as our workshops, free of charge. And that's the thing I've been called Mzi Mnguni, when we were looking into the work of the church. City is very nice, because we knew and that's exactly what he did to our church. That's why we found and I know as the heron was windy, because even today, Mzi Mnguni akanyanto asilela kuyo, because up to date, in fact until March, because he restored to his death. And the siacho, single, ordinary and ponzo, sianchutela, city, zeninga, karazi, nina chosu, zeninga karani, goba, ezo zinto zizinsizi ebomini bethu, ezo zinto zizinhlungu ebomini bethu iyazazela. And come to you, I do want to say today, Sizonikela Mzi Mnguni as the moderator of the memorial. And on Tuesday, our admin secretary in our audit membership register will write, will draw a line, and at the end write deceased, because Mzi Mnguni has been killed. But I want to say to you, we will meet again with you on the 1st of November, when it is All Saints Day. We would like to say to you, Malumini, so, it's a pity, it's always like this. When it comes to church, it's always rush. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Umama umdala ngamazwi akhe nokusiqobisa ukuba ubengubani uTata Mzi enkonzweni. Masigqithele ngaphambili ke kuba andifuna ubanjwa. Masicele ukuba usodolophu womasipala oMbaxa uCouncillor Xola phakathi ukuba azokwenza nje atshayelele umama uDeputy Minister uNocawe Mafu xa ihlala phansi uTata Xola phakathi esazisa umama uNocawe Mafu andizoba saphakama mna ndawuphakama emva kwamama uMafu kwenzela into yoba sizame ukuba siqoqoshe le nkonzo ikwazi ufumana ixesha singade sizokhutshwa amapolisa. Tata uphakathi, over to you.
Inkosi kakhulu mphathi wenkqubo, mandibulise kuwe, ndibulise ifamily yakwaTata Mnguni nabo bonke abantu abalapha. Umsedi Benzinduni kuyapha mncinci kakhulu ku-introducer uDeputy Minister we-Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, umama uNocawe Mafu. Umama uNocawe Mafu akanidi introduction apha East London, because she is a daughter of this city. She started off as a professional, health professional upper for the hospital, joined the African National Congress here in this town. Now she's serving as the member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC. Ubeke wangu chairperson of Portfolio Committee, Human Settlements, before she was deployed as the Deputy Minister of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, Yongeland. Over to you, Mama Mafu. Siyabulela ngokubakho kwakho apha.
Ndizamcela ke bakhulule imask ukwenzela babe audible. Ndisanitizile, izabe sanitize nalapha ezandleni.
Ndiyabulela kakhulu mphathi wehlelo okwangu MEC walapha ephondweni we-Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, unkosazana Fezeka Nkomonye. Mandibulise usapho, ndiqale ngosisilindi. Ndiyambona into yokuba uthokozile, kodwa ke ithemba sinalo kuba siyamazi into yoba ngumama wenkonzo, uyamazi uThixo. Uyawuthi xa kunzima akhumbule into yokokuba xesha elininzi uyawaphakamisela kuye amehlo akhe, ikwanguye umncedi wakhe. Ndibulise usapho lakwaMnguni, oJola, nosapho lakwaNgobeni, nezihlobo zonke nezalamane. Ndilenze ilizwi lokubulisa usodolophu abesuka apha uxola phakathi. Abezemibhoxo abalapha bonke, kodwa ke andakumkhankanya usihlalo wayo iboard, umfana kaJack uLuthando kwakunye nobhuti Mtya. Onyawontle abalapha, abanye babo ke bayayazi into yoba babakhe bandiphatha. Umfundisi uFinci wayengumqashi wam, so xa ndizawuchula ukunyathela xa ndijonge bona. Amalungu onke neentatheli ezilapha, manene nani manenekazi. Igama lam senivile, ndinguNocawe Mafu, ndingusekela mphathiswa wezemidlalo, ubugcisa kunye nenkcubeko. Ndiyinzalelwane yalapha eMonti kwindawo ekuthiwa kuseziphunzana eDangeni Village. Ndivumeleni ke bethuna ndenze amazwi ovelwano olukhulu nokubulisa kunonke abalapha nabo basijoyinileyo kwindawo zomxhakaxhaka besenza ukuba nabo babe yinxalenye yalomsebenzi weligorha. Manilenze ke labadala nam kolusapho oJola nabakwaNgobeni, ndithi akuhlanga lungehlanga, kunje kumakhaya ngamakhaya. Lalani ngenxeba, nisazi nje ukuba akulahlekelwanga nina nodwa, kodwa isizwe sonke soMzantsi Afrika silahlekelwe ngunyana wesizwe. The sporting community has lost one of its shining stars, a visionary, a pioneer, and an internationally recognized icon in boxing. Mandilithathe elithuba ndibulele urhulumente weMpuma Koloni ekhokhelwa inkulumbuso obekekileyo uOscar Mabuyane uDiya ngokuthi athathe inxaxheba yokunxulumana norhulumente wesizwe ukuba lonyana wesizwe afumane imbeko ephezulu. Ndimbulele urhulumente wesizwe ekhokhelwa ngumongameli uCyril Ramaphosa ukuba avume ukuba eneneni ibiligorha eli makalinikwe ilungelo lakhe. As was the case with many boxing enthusiasts, the passing of Mzi Mnguni, whilst everybody knew into bakaphilanga due to his long illness, but it also came as a surprise to all of us, even to me. I'm truly honored and humbled to be amongst those who have come to pay last respects and tribute to a giant of Mzi's stature. Mzi, to those of us who knew and grew up here in East London, Asem, Tanzania, can be described as a philanthropist, a community builder, an educator, a disciplinarian, a sportsman, a businessman, and a political activist. Ujola had a big heart with his warm-hearted and graceful wife, Usislindi, They cared for less privileged families. Their contribution ranged from providing groceries, paying for education, supporting the funeral costs, zabantu abasokolayo, to the needy. Through their different businesses, they created employment for local people. Mzi never did all of this because he could afford, but he had so much respect for and valued the dignity of human life. Program director, Mzi was undoubtedly impacted lives here in this area and beyond. In his life, I see the cross of Christ. That cross has two dimensions. The horizontal representing our relationship with our fellow human beings, and the vertical representing the relationship with God. Mzi was a trailblazer whose acumen transcended his immediate environment, whilst plying his trade in Tanzania from his AA2 boxing club base. His talent shone through enough to attract the attention of foremost boxing promoter, Mr. Rosalie Benman, as you have already heard. Together, the two were to forge the kind of relationship that paved the way to numerous successful careers. The Mnguni-Benman relationship achieved so many boxing firsts that one would have sworn that they had a watertight contract in place. The truth is that all this was achieved at the back of a gentleman's agreement. There was no contract. I'm told that the two remained friends until Mzi's last day. We've heard him when he was doing his tribute, and he said he's hoping that there will be a Mzi Mnguni annual tournament. Nkosazana Ngomonye. Licekwa ke elo libekwe kuthi sobabili. Besides being a boxing tactician, Mzi was also streetwise and read the political environment at the time quite well. It was therefore not surprising to hear that after a heartfelt plea by Welcome Ncita to the then International Boxing Federation IBF president, Mr. Bobiling, as a black man, Mzi realized that Rodney would need some political clout for Welcome to fight for a world title, whilst the sports moratorium was still in place. Through Mzi, a connection was made with the late Mr. Mluleki George of the National Sports Council, followed by a presentation for an IBF convention in New Orleans, which cleared the way for an IBF world title fight in Israel between Welcome Ncita and Fabrice Bencho. The win by Welcome gave Mzi his first world champion. Mzi's AA2 boxing club quickly became an equivalent of Detroit's Kronk's Gymnasium in terms of its ability to produce even more world champions. As the educator and the disciplinarian that he was, his mantra was, and I quote, "Every boxer a learner. You cannot be an uneducated boxer," close quote. He went on to ban drinking and smoking in his stable. The results, therefore, speak for themselves in the lives of his boxers, Ncita, Obungu, Nabakepula, and others. Mzi did not only develop his boxers, but he also mentored younger promoters, including women. For example, our brilliant Mbali Zanzi is the product of Mzi. At a national level, Mzi was the first chairman of the Boxing SA Promoters Association. Mzi's success also caught this government's eye. In that regard, he received 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards from the then Department of Sports and Recreation. As indicated earlier, Mzi was a sportsman, a rounded sportsman. He was also seen in the rugby circles here in Tanzania through his involvement in the Black Lion and Homeboy rugby football clubs, those that can remember. At the time, that Mzi arrived in Tanzania, it was at the height of apartheid repression. His consciousness led him to be one of the dependable and trusted cadres of our movement. We are here grateful as the African National Congress for his immense contribution to the underground structures of the liberation movement. He made all his resources, finances, cars, his boxing club, his supermarket, available to the organization to support its underground operations. Just to go down a bit in history, Ayetu Supermarket was not only a grocery shop, but was also a place of refuge for COSAS comrades. They were safe and fed there during the times that they were hiding from the special branch police of the apartheid regime. One of the COSAS leaders of the time, Mzi Mnguni, was telling a story about how Mzi sponsored their trip, baniki moto, baniki kutya, baniki mali petrol, to Queenstown to bury the late comrade Andile Machoba, who also happened to be a neighbor of the Mngunis at the time. Typical of youth mischief, the car was damaged. Being the disciplinarian that he was, Mzi reprimanded them like a father, but he continued to open his doors to the young people of this area. As he leaves this earth, he will be welcomed on the other side by the likes of Opera Steve Chwete, or Comrade Christiani, or Makaya Ngalo, or Don Kokweni, or Matemba Vuso, or Andile Machoba, or Comrade Unlinane, or Brastov, the martyrs of our glorious army, Mkondo Wesizwe. Program Director, I can sum up Mzi's attitude to life and the legacy he leaves by using George Bernard's show words, and I quote, "I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live." Close quote. That's exactly what he did. In conclusion, Mphathi Qobo, I would like to leave the boxing fraternity in this region and area with a challenge, in particular those from East London. East London, as it is known, is a mecca of boxing, yet there is no visible legacy or heritage to affirm that. Mzi, together with some of our local heroes, like Otatu Lawrence Nzondo, or Simon Sali, or Monde Mbaka, or Alester Mahashe, or Monde Dukashe, or Happy Boy Mqachi, or Mvele Luzipo, Nabanye, have contributed to this reputation, and later, Abo Welcome Nita, or Vian Bungu, or Hokma Kepula, or Mbulelo Botile, or Nomeva Ndongeni, or Simpiwe Veteka, or Zolani Tete, and late Baby Lee Amelda. Buki Wenonina, Noni Tenge, and others also made their mark. But what have we to show about that? Boxing in this small part of our country comes from training in school classrooms. Edalukukanya kwatri, yayindawo abantu ababetraina kuyo, enyameko kwa 8. Bilwe kube manzi festive zingabonakali kube mnyama. With one punching bag, sometimes the trainers would make boxing rings with desks, with windows wet with condensation. Yet out of those conditions, world champions were produced. We have a young teacher, Payam Tanzania, who was buried a month ago, Nkululeko Mtusanto, who was hailed as having contributed and sacrificed personal resources to develop the sport in the area. He is one amongst many. What will happen to those young people that he trained? Will that potential talent go to waste because we don't have a plan in this area? As an organized fraternity, not individuals, put a plan together and approach the office of the MEC here, MEC Feza Kangonyani, Nkomonye, approach my office, approach the three spheres of government must put our heads together and make sure that we actually don't talk of a make-out boxing. We show it. So, if you cannot do it for yourselves, at least, please do it, okay, for Mzi's memory. Lento indoda ke kakade ihambele. Into ehlala igoduke naye ke uJola uthe agqiba ukuhlakula eyakhe intsini waxwa igaba lakhe wagoduka. Hamba qengemba, hamba thole lo mthwakazi. Umzamo omhle uzamile, ugqatso ulifezile. Ulindwe sisithaba ngaphesheya. Ndiyabulela.
In your hands, rise our future. In your hands, rise our destiny. Madam Speaker, Master of Ceremony, Program Director, Program Manager, Your Grace, Your Excellence, Your love, Your integrity, Your wisdom, Your responsibility, a mighty man of God, fivefold ministry, Reverend Tinela, family of Mnguni, community at large. Yeah, I dedicate this poem to Tata, a father, a great icon, Tata Mzi Mnguni, a father with motivation, a father with devotion, a father with congregation, a father with meaning. Every successful man like Hawk Makapula, Hawk Nature, Kusal Mnguni. There's a quality parent, Tombencha, Makapula, Mama Linji Mnguni. South Africans, War One, War South Africans. I would like to say, War One, South Africans.
bendike ndathi ke bethunana utata Mzi Mnguni had a colorful life. Ezinye izinto anikwazi uzindoyisile. Siyabulela kakhulu Deputy Minister ngamazwi wakho achubekileyo. Sibulela kakhulu Nkosazana. Inyeke into endiyaziyo ngoDeputy Minister kukuba xa sithe sabambana thina ngento ayisiphuncuki. So esi sibhambathiso ebesenza apha siza kuncedisana ngaso simlandelele ukuba we have something to show ngokunduluka kukatata uMzi Mnguni. Masicele ke kuba awethu amazwi angahamba phela esithubeni, kodwa sithunyelelwe ukuba kube khona abefundisi abagadayo abasalusayo abasifundisayo nabasithuthuzelayo ngexesha elinje. Bajonga kophezulu ke bona basinika amazwi avela kuye. Masicele ke utata umfundisi uFinca kule mizuzwana imbaleshekileyo, ndicela uxolo kakhulu. Ndim omoshe umngcwabo katata uMnguni ayinini. Ndicela nixolele ngokuba bekufanele bango-11 sebesiphumile. Ukuba kuyohlwayo ze ningohlwayo usapho lwakwamnguni nohlwayo mina ndicela uxolo kakhulu. Nakubo bonke abantu abanikwe uxanduva lokuqinisekisa uba siyalandelela COVID-19 regulations ndiyazithoba phambi kwenu, ndicela uxolo. Masicele ke utata umfundisi uFinca ekhatshwa ngutata uBhudaza uzomfundela nje ilizwi bakhawuleze basiphe amazwi okubopha usapho lwakwamnguni nabo bonke abathandi beboxing. Ndinikela kuwe ke tata.
Kuwe mphathiso osiqhubelelo inkonzo kubantu bonke abakhoyo emnqobeni ngelihle igama lenkosi. Ndiyanibulisa nonke molweni. Ndibulisa ngokukhethileyo kwekhathi. Ndiyakubulisa mangobeni. Isifundo sethu, I will be reading from the Xhosa Bible. Sisifumana kwincwadi yeGenesis chapter 37 I'll be reading from verse 13 to verse 20. Sifunde ngolhlobo nabayifumeneyo. Isihloko sale ndawo sithi uYosefu uthiwe ngabakhuluwa bakhe uthengiselwa eYibhithe. Verse 13. USirayeli wathi kuYosefu, abakhuluwa bakho abalusi eShekem na, yiza ndikuthume kubo. Wathi yena kuye, ndilapha. Wathi kuye, khawuye kukhangela ukuphila kwabakhuluwa bakho nokuphila kwempahla emfutshane, ubuye uze kundixelele. Wamthuma ke, emsusa entilini yaseHebron, waya eShekem. Wafunyanwa ngumfo ebhadula endle. Umfo lowo wambuza wathi, ufuna ntoni na? Wathi, ndifuna abakhuluwa bam, khawundixelele apho balusa khona. Wathi umfo, bandulukile apha, kuba khe ndeva besithi masiye eDothani. uYosefu wabalandela abakhuluwa bakhe, wabafumana eDothani. Bambona ke esekude, engekasondeli kubo. Benza iyelekenxe lokumbulala. Bathetha omnye komnye besithi, nanko lo mphuphi esiza, izani ke ngoko simbulale, simphose komnye kwemihathi. Sithi udliwe lirhamncwa, size sibone ukuba amaphupha akhe abo awuba yintoni na. Eli lilizwi lenkosi. This is the word of God.
Egameni kaThixo ise, egameni kaThixo unyana, egameni kaThixo moya oyingcwele. Amen. MC ophethe umsebenzi, Deputy Minister on protocol observed, ngenxa yexesha. Sapho lwabanguni, nosapho lwabanguleli, egameni lenkosi yethu uYesu Kristu ndiyabulisa. Mthonywa ngumfundisi ophetheyo webandla, umfundisi Osiri, bandibeke ilizwi kumazwi elizwi likaThixo ngale mini yokuthi ndilante to this heavy weight, ndilante to this giant, uMzi. Umphathi wenkqubo uthe unika in 10 minutes. So ndizawushwankathela imeseyiji ebendicinga okokuba ndizawuyinika ngale mini xa sithi ndilante kuMzi. Moya undithume kwincwadi yeGenesis, isahluko 37, ivesi ye-9, ye-19. Kumazwi athi bathetha omnye komnye, besithi nanku lo mphuphi esiza. They spoke one to another, saying, here comes the dreamer. Tingakoba uMzi Mzi Mnguni would not like this day to be a day of sadness. I don't think you would like this day to be a day of mourning. I don't think you would like this day to be a day in which we are full of tears and of bitterness and of misery. I never discussed this with him, but I don't think he would have liked us
on this day to be in a celebratory mood. I think Brazil also would like us to be on this day in a thanksgiving mood, in a praise and worship to God. A day of giving glory because of all his achievements. Mzi never forgot who God is in his life. In all the heights that he climbed, in all the steps that he mastered, he never forgot who God was. I think Mzi would have liked this day of his departing to be a day of self-examination, to be a day of introspection, to be a day of reclaiming the glory. Bathetha omnye besithi nanku nomkhuphi esizwe. Umbali bambona esekude bamenzela iyenene bambulala. Bakhuluwa bakhe abalishumi. Bambona umpina wabo uza kubo ubaphathele into ethiwayo. They see him at a distance and they conspire against him, saying, "Here comes the dreamer." And I believe that we are here today to witness a dreamer. He is not coming today, but he is departing today. And we are here to say, "Nanku lomkhuphi ekunzima, nanku lomkhuphi emka, nanku lomkhuphi ehamba ekulondawo ayevele kuyo." Allow me just to summarize 3 things ebengizawuthetha ngazo. The first one, for say, is that God is teaching us that dreamers don't see things as we see them. Dreamers see things as they see. When we go through the streets of Tanzania and we see boys and girls wallowing in drugs, when we see them killing themselves with alcohol, when we see them prostituting themselves in the dark corners of our city, when we see them plundering and raping, those of us who are not dreamers, they see and they ask, "But why?" But dreamers do not see things as we see them. Instead of seeing girls and boys killing themselves with drugs, instead of seeing boys and girls killing themselves with alcohol, dreamers see glimmers of shining gold. They see glittering silver that must be picked up, that must be polished, and that must be placed in the world stage, there to shine.
dreamers say things and they ask, why not? Why not out of the streets of Uganda? Why not out of the province of the Eastern Cape? Why not out of the black community of South Africa? Why not in the continent of Africa? Why not? Because they don't see things as we see them. Dreamers see things with their own eyes. The second thing that I was going to speak about was going to say to dreamers don't care about the material conditions. Yourself, abakhuluma babeka behamba ushiyeka ngasemuva. But lando yakhe ushiyeka ngasemuva does not make him stop to dream. Yourself, bayamthabata abakhuluma bakhe bamphosa emadini. But emadini akho uyourself does not stop to dream. But from the things that I marginalize. But even if they sold him to the Ishmaelites, we yourself does not stop to dream. And they locked him in a dark cell. And in that dark cell, who yourself did not stop to dream. Because for dreamers, the material conditions do not stop them from dreaming. Why do people say it cannot be done? If dreamers say it can be done. This cannot be done in the Eastern Cape, and if dreamers say it can be done in the Eastern Cape. This cannot be done in Buffalo City, and dreamers say it will be done in Buffalo City. Dreamers take government departments that are collapsing, and they turn them around. They take schools that are collapsing, and they turn them around. They take universities that are collapsing, and they turn them around. Because over immaterial conditions do not stop them from dreaming. Like Martin Luther King of old, they say, I still have dream. Even in these conditions that are adverse, even in these conditions that are not suitable, I still have a dream. Because dreamers don't give up. Dreamers don't kill it. Dreamers don't quit. Dreamers don't resign. Dreamers don't run away to hide. They go to Tanzania to what you would call nothingness and hopelessness. They will bow down and they will kick up gold. And they will put their gold in a wealth stage. Because dreamers don't give up. On this day was to make a plea. What was this again? Please do not allow the dream of this dreamer to die. dreams die with them. There are dream killers in this passage. People whose responsibility is to kill the other people's dreams. And they always say, let us kill him and see what is going to happen to his dream. But dream killers, in every nation, dream killers, in every society, dream killers, in every province, should not be allowed to kill this dream. The dreamer has died. The dreamer has passed on. The dreamer is on his way back to where he came. And chanting in the name of God. Do not allow the dream to die. Do not allow the dream to die in the dream. Mzi, they fought a good fight. Mzi, finished the race. Mzi, kept faith. Good night. Now, dreamer, sleep well and take your rest, oh dreamer, until we meet again in the morning. May those of us who remain after you never cease to pray. And we will say,
siyabulela kakhulu Tata Ufinca, sikhawulezile sithi angalamazwi angananela lusapho lakwaMnguni nakwaNgobeni, angangamane unithuthuzela ngemini apho inkumbulo ziye zifike zibe ngamandla. Sibulela kakhulu Mthanjiswa, and we have a responsibility ngenene yokuqinisekisa ukuba amaphupha kaTata uBramsey akaphelele esithubeni kuba yena he fulfilled his dreams. It's a task we dare not fail in. Masigqitheke kuba okokwam ayikokubulela abantu, ndinomeza wampha ozawusibulelela le nginginya yabantu abayi-50 abakhoyo apha kulo mnquba. Ndiyacela ke Bhutsihle Mnguni uba uze ngaphambili uzosenzela amazombulelo. Nginginye uba uyazi maths, nginginye abantu abayi-50 sisizumbulu.
Thank you very much, Honorable MC. Let me greet you. Let me also greet the clergy that is here, as led by Reverend Bosik, our Honorable Deputy Minister, our Honorable Mayor, boxing fraternity, the family, and everybody who have graced this occasion. I'm going to be very short. At some point, I wanted to be academic, to have this prepared, thank you thing. But I decided to leave it in the car because I could sense that time would be against us. So for that,